Today we are going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to import multiple revenue line items into a new opportunity. So oftentimes we will receive RFQs via a spreadsheet that will have multiple revenue line items. In the case of this one that I am working on, it will have 48 line items. And it's a lot easier if you can do a mass import using the mass import feature within Sugar. So I'm going to quickly run you through this, and hopefully you guys will get something out of this. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually navigate to the company that this opportunity is associated with, which is Spartan Motors. So here is Spartan Motors, assigned to Mr. Dave Hill. And I'm just simply going to, once I'm here, I can click on this opportunities and hit create opportunity. And you can see the company name automatically populates. The opportunity name is RFQ package number 2. Oops, number 2. And then we go here and we'll just kind of say this is not prototype, this is new business production, and it is assigned to Dave Hill. And the team on this one is actually going to be Modern Tool. And then I will put a temporary revenue line item in here with just an arbitrary close date, because we're going to end up deleting this one anyway. So from there, you can hit the save button, and you will create your new opportunity. From there, while this box is still up, you can pick on this, and it will open the opportunity. So now you have the foundation that you need in order to start populating the Excel template. Now, the Excel template for importing data into Sugar looks something like this. Across the top, you have the opportunity ID. I'll show you what that is in just a moment. The part number, part description, quote due date, close date, revenue line item type. This is a drop down, existing, new, engineering change, other, unit price. And if it's a new opportunity, you might want to just populate some generic number on estimate. Usually if you have the weight of the part, you can just say 1 or 2 times the weight of the part, just to get a rough order of magnitude in the system. We'll always come back and update that later. Any general assumptions or comments you want to put in there. Some of these other ones that are required, lead times and program life. All of the blue columns, actually with the exception of this general assumptions, are pretty much required. The sales stage is required. MOQ, not necessary. The primary team name is definitely required. And then the assigned to user last name. The nice thing over here is whenever we go to do the import, it will actually use this column Q and not column P, but the column P will actually populate column Q. So don't change any of the formulas. You'll see that whenever you pull that in, it pulls in the ID. This particular ID is how Sugar ties things out to records within the database. So from there, we've got to populate the opportunity ID. And actually, first what I'll do is, this is the spreadsheet that we received from Spartan Motors that has the basic information in it, annual volumes, description, and part number. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to copy these 2 columns first. So part number and part description. I will paste. You want to paste values. You don't want to paste this way in case there's any formulas or anything that are tied to it. So you can see that it pulled in the part numbers and the part description. And then lastly, I'm going to do the estimated annual units, which is over here. Right here. And again, paste the values. Don't just hit paste. So in order to do that, I right-clicked on the spreadsheet and hit paste values. So from there, we are ready to populate this opportunity ID. So in order to get the opportunity ID, I'm going to flip back to sugar, and it is this number right here at the top in the address bar. So starting after the slash, the 03B, I'm going to copy that number and I'm going to paste it here. So what we're doing here is we're tying these revenue line items to the this particular opportunity, and then I'm going to just pick the drop down and drag it down and fill in the rest. One thing you have to make sure is that it doesn't fill in a series and that all the numbers are the same. So again, that ties these opportunity or these revenue line items to this opportunity. The quote due date on this particular one, I believe, was 11/15, so 19, and we can copy that one down. So I'm going to drag it down. You can see it's going to fill in the series. When it does that, you can pick on this button right here and actually hit copy cells, and it will copy them out. The close date, so I'm going to basically say this is maybe a week after we quote it. And again, it's just an estimate for now, but it'll give us a baseline for pulling together our forecast. The revenue line item type is new business. And again, we'll drag that one down. Make sure that copies. Unit price, I'm going to put maybe $5 on each one of these. Again, I don't have a good ballpark on these just yet, but if we just use that as just some general assumptions, I think it'll be good enough. I don't have any general assumptions or comments right now. Reference quote number. So this is if the customer has a specific quote number, or you can use an internal number that is either generated out of Vantage or out of SecureFab or any other system that we're using to generate quotes. From there, lead time, I'm going to guess is 8 weeks. That's pretty standard lead time for us, at least on the modern tool side. Program life, I'm going to say 24 months on this one, 2 years. And what that does is that'll help us populate a monthly run rate, if you will, and get us to a forecasting, the ability to forecast. The sales stage, it is in quote development right now. Sometimes whenever with these new opportunities, it may go into the discover phase, but depending on where it's at, like for example, right now, I know Brandon is working on this quote actively, so it is in the quote development phase. I will drag that one down. MOQ, I'm going to leave blank for now. The team name, again, I populated a modern tool. I'm going to drag that one down, and you'll see that it populated the team ID. And the last name, right now, it is assigned to Mr. Detzler. Again, this is the person that is quoting the project. Because he is assigned to the revenue line items, where the opportunity is assigned to Dave Hill. So right now, because it's in Brandon's court, he's got the revenue line item responsibility. Okay, so that pretty much completes the spreadsheet of all the information we need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save a copy of this, and I'll just dump it on my desktop for right the moment, so I can find it easy. And Spartan Q2. All right, so I've saved a copy of that, and from there, what I need to do is I need to start removing the fields that we didn't change. So I'm going to delete these two columns. You can just simply right click and delete it. I'm going to delete the reference quote. Basically, the reason we do this is because when you're importing things, you don't want to import a blank field. You'd rather just import stuff that's relevant to the actual import itself. And then the other key here is you want to make sure you come here, and you'll see the template is longer than what you need. You want to come down and delete everything that's below it, because otherwise it will try to import some blank fields, and that doesn't turn out very well. So now this file is ready for import. So what we are going to do from here, we need to save it as a CSV file. So again, save a copy. And then this drop down right here is the Excel workbook. I'm going to save as a comma delimited, comma separated value, CSV, and hit save. And okay, got it. Okay. All right, so now we have the CSV file saved on my desktop. I'm going to minimize that one out. And now I'm going back into Sugar. So what I want to do next is under revenue line items, where the drop down arrow is, you pick that and you hit import revenue line items. And then from there, you're going to pick the file that we just created. So as I mentioned, it's on my desktop, and I'll sort on date modified. I gotta find it now. Oh, it actually saved it back into the folder that I started with, so that's okay. Okay, so I'll go into sales playbook process. And here's my CSV file. You need to make sure that under the type that this is the comma separated value file. You can kind of see with this logo, it looks a little differently. Or if you hover over it, it will tell you that it is a Microsoft Excel comma separated value file. So I'm going to open that one up. And here you want to pick create new records only. And we're going to hit next. From there, this is just kind of a preview to make sure that the information that you put in there looks generically right and you don't have data that's all over the place. So from there, I'm going to hit next. And then this is the field mapping. So what you want to do is make sure that these kind of match each other. The biggest one in here is you want to make sure that we're not mapping the primary team name and we're mapping the team ID, and the same thing with the last name. You don't need to map these two because it's already covered under the ID itself. From there, we just hit next. And this is check for possible duplicates. At this point, we don't need to do this right now. Because we're just importing brand new revenue line items. So the chances of duplicates being in there are pretty slim. So we're gonna hit import now. And again, there's 45 records in this, and this will take just a few moments. So we'll kind of wait it out. Okay, as you can see, we've got 45 records were created. And basically it's just showing that these are the records that were created. So from there you can hit the exit button, and we are going to go back into the opportunity that we created, which was RFQ package 2 right down here. And then what we need to do from here, actually, we can go into the revenue line item type, or the revenue line item module, and we need to filter on that particular RFQ. So in order, just a refresher, in order to create a filter, you just hit this button, this create button here, and this box will pop up. I can hit the opportunity name, is any of RFQ package 2, and then all of the revenue line items that are associated with that package will come up. So if you remember, we created that temporary revenue line item, which is why you see there's 46 revenue line items here, not 45. So we need to go in and delete that temporary revenue line item, which is right down here at the bottom. So we're going to pick on that guy, pick the checkbox, roll back up to the top. Under actions, we're going to hit delete, and it's going to say, you sure you want to do that? Hit confirm. And then from there, you have the 45 revenue line items that are associated with that particular RFQ package. And then from there, I'm going to select all the records. And I need to get this system to do a refresh of all of the data. And in order to do that without having to go into each opportunity, it's easier just to do a mass update, and we can actually pick, you know, for example, if we want to pick the close date, and we'll just, if you remember, we had changed it, or we had it as 11/22. Let's just say we change it to 11/23, and then we'll hit update. And what that will do is it will trigger all of the macros and all of the scripts behind the scenes to do a refresh of the data so that everything calculates like it's supposed to with the annual revenues and then all of the background information. Okay, so we've got all of these things have updated. And the way to check that is if you go back to the RFQ package, the opportunity, I'm going to refresh it. And you should see an annual revenue populated and some annual volumes. So from there, you now know that everything has populated like it should. Each one of these revenue line items have an annual revenue associated with them. And from there, you are all set. So hopefully this helps you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.